We are introduced to our lead, Satoru, not Gojo. He's a struggling manga artist and works as a pizza delivery boy. He also possesses a strange ability to go back in time whenever he senses a life-threatening incident. He calls it revival. We see it in action when he manages to save a child from getting hit by a truck. Unfortunately, Satoru gets hit by a car in the process and is taken to the hospital. He wakes up with his coworker, Eri, next to him. She appears to be friendly, but Satoru takes no notice. He comes back home and finds his mom, Sachiko, inside. She says that she's going to live with him for a while till he recovers. She reminds Satoru about a series of child abductions and murders back when he was in school. A man named Jun Shiratori was arrested for it, but Satoru believes he is innocent because he was friends with him. The next day, Satoru goes shopping with Sachiko and experiences revival, but is unable to understand who is in danger. Sachiko notices a suspicious man leaving with a child and takes a picture of the car. They meet Irie and invite her for dinner later. Sachiko teases Satoru about Irie having a crush on him, but Satoru is still thinking about the unsolved murders and the victims, Kaio Hinazuki, Hiromi Sugita, and Aya Nakanishi. Later, Sachiko identifies the mysterious man from earlier and suspects him to be the actual killer. She calls her journalist friend Sawada to tell him about it. However, she gets stabbed by the killer at home and is unable to warn her son before dying. Satoru returns home and crosses paths with the killer before finding his mom's dead body. He gets her blood on his hands and the neighbor calls the cops on him after seeing this. He tries to escape and experiences another revival. However, this time, he's gone back to February 15th, 1988. Satoru has a hard time coming to terms with what has happened and goes home. However, he's delighted to see his mom alive and well. He figures that this is the starting point for stopping his mom's murder. Next day in class, he notices that Kaio has a bruise on her leg, but his friends Kazu, Kenya, and Hiromi think that he's staring at her because he likes her. Kazu sets up a meeting between them, but it's a little awkward for both of them. Later, Kenya suggests that he should read Kaio's essay, which hints at her troubled life. Satoru suspects Kaio's mother, Akemi, to be abusing her and plans to invite Kaio to his birthday to help her feel better. She accepts, and he decides that he will make sure she doesn't get killed in this timeline. Satoru competes in a skating match and allows his opponent to win. This doesn't impress Kaio, so she doesn't answer him when he asks for her birth date. Satoru sneaks into the school's office and checks her records using the help of his teacher, Gaku Yashiro. He learns that they share the same birthday, 2nd March. Also, the day of her kidnapping and death was 1st March, so he has to prevent her from dying on that date. He is unable to find Kaio and looks for her. He asks Jun if he knows where she is and notices some explicit movies in his room. However, he doesn't care about that and moves on. Later, he finds Kaio lying injured outside her house and meets Akemi, but when he asks her what happened, she just says that she fell. Satoru notices some fresh bruises on Kaio the next day and tells Yashiro about it. He admits that he knows about the abuse, but Akemi has always been able to avoid getting caught. In class, Misato accuses Kaio of stealing the lunch money, and Satoru defends her angrily. After that, he takes Kato up a mountain to see a Christmas tree, and she smiles for the first time. There's a week left for X Day, and Satoru gets permission from Sachiko to go out with Kaio. He asks his friends if they want to come along too, but they avoid it. When he asks Akemi, she says no, and is about to hit Kaio, but Sachiko stops her and helps Satoru get his date. During the date, Satoru worries that he's not changing much of the past when he experiences déjà vu. That changes when his friends surprise them by showing up. One day before X Day, Satoru walks with Kaio to school and tries to keep her with him for as long as possible. He even waits outside her house till after 12 to make sure that he has changed history. On their birthday, he brings her home, and they are treated to a surprise party by Sachiko and their friends. Kaio is upset because she couldn't finish Satoru's present and promises to give it to him the next day. However, she is missing from class when Satoru reaches. He rushes to Kaio's house and notices an adult male's footprints outside. Kaio has officially been declared to be missing, and the second victim disappears soon after. Satoru notices Akemi throwing out the mittens that Kaio had knitted for his birthday and starts crying. He is transported back to the present day where he is still being chased by the cops. He manages to find shelter in his manager's house, But that was a trap, and he escapes after seeing the cops outside. He bumps into Eri and she helps him because she believes he is innocent. Satoru learns that Kaio's day of disappearance has changed, which means that he did make a difference. The manager chases after him, but he is stopped by Eri, who scolds him for helping the cops. She tells Satoru about how her father was wrongly accused of stealing, and that's why she believes he's innocent. Later, Eri gets a text from Sachiko's number and suspects it to be the killer. But then her house is set on fire, and she gets trapped. Satoru breaks in and saves Eri with the help of the manager. She drops her phone into his pocket before he escapes. Satoru learns that the killer used Sachiko's number to frame him for the murder. He meets Sawada, who also believes he's innocent because of what Sachiko told him before she died. They conclude that the original killer from 1988 is still on the loose. Satoru suspects that the killer might have checked out his work schedule and Eri might have even seen him. He goes through older murder cases but ignores the suspect list that includes Sachiko and Yashiro. Sawada sneaks into Eri's room to talk to her, but finds her mom instead. Eri sneaks out of the hospital to meet Satoru and tells him about a councilman named Nishizono, who is checking their routine. Unfortunately, the police arrive and arrest Satoru. As he is being taken away, he spots the killer and experiences revival. Satoru travels back to the time when he and Kaio are on their date and realizes this is his last chance to make things right. Kenya admits to seeing Kaio's bruises but was unable to help her back then. He wants to help Satoru now and they come up with a plan. Kenya and the others spend time with Kaio at the birthday party while Satoru goes to Yuki's house and breaks the window so that the police inspect it. This helps establish Yuki's alibi. The next day, he walks Kaio home and asks her if he can kidnap her, and she agrees. They meet Kenya at an abandoned school bus, which is their new hideout spot. Satoru sneaks out early in the morning and meets Kaio so that she doesn't feel lonely. Kaio's absence from school worries Yashiro, and everyone waits for Akemi to take action. But later that night, the killer enters the bus. He looks around for a bit, but kicks a box and leaves without finding Kaio. Sachiko cooks some extra food for Satoru as he leaves early again because she has realized he's meeting Kaio. At school, Satoru convinces Yashiro to contact Child Services to investigate Akemi as she has not been looking for Kaio. However, she is not at home when they visit. Satoru meets Kaio in the evening, and she gives him his gift. Then she tells him about the killer visiting her at night. The kids find lots of suspicious material in the box, and Satoru is the only one who knows what they are for. He suspects that they are still in the murder loop, and Kaio needs to be taken further away. His only plan now is to have Kaio stay at his place. Sachiko is on board with that plan and calls Yashiro to tell him about it. Kaio is humbled by such kind treatment and cries with gratitude. The three of them decide to visit Akemi now. Sachiko accuses Kaio's mom of being complacent with Kaio and gets attacked, but the kids save her. Things are about to get out of hand, but then Yashiro and Child Services show up and bring out Akemi's mother. She breaks down on seeing her, but neither Satoru nor Kaio are impressed. Kaio is taken in by her grandmother, so the killer can't get to her anymore. Satoru focuses on Aya now and asks Yashiro for advice. He suggests getting her to let her guard down. Satoru finds a lot of candy in Yashiro's car, but it's apparently a substitute for his smoking addiction. Kenya suspects that something is still wrong, and Satoru reveals that he knows about a potential killer. Kenya has his doubts, but he and Hiromi are ready to help him. The kids meet Aya and try to befriend her, but she makes fun of their hideout. Kazu suddenly shows up to defend the hideout, and Aya seems to like him, so she starts chilling with the gang. Satoru suspects the killer might look for a substitute to kill, and Misato looks like a potential victim. Satoru follows her to an ice hockey game and starts to worry after she doesn't return from the washroom. Satoru spots Yuki's truck and uses Yashiro's help to follow it. They have a very suspicious conversation, and we finally learn that Yashiro was the killer all along. He reveals that he gave Misato a laxative as part of his plan to be alone with Satoru. He tries to escape but is trapped by the seatbelt and Yashiro sinks the car. Satoru yells that he knows Yashiro's future before he supposedly drowns. It turns out that Satoru survived the incident, but had gone into a coma for 15 years. Sachiko takes care of him right till the day he wakes up. But Satoru has lost his memory and even his friends are requested not to say anything to trigger him. But then, Satoru meets Kaio, who is now married to Hiromi. They have a child as well. She thanks him for everything he has done for her, and it gets him thinking. He makes friends with a leukemia patient named Kumi, who is due for a surgery soon. Then he meets Nishisono, who is actually Yashiro. He had married into a wealthy family and adopted their name. However, Satoru doesn't seem to recognize him. As Kumi is being prepared for her surgery, Yashiro takes Satoru to the roof where it appears as if he is going to kill him. But then Satoru reveals that he has regained his memories. Earlier, it is shown that Satoru had spoken to Kenya and Hiromi about Yashiro, but they need evidence to catch him. They decide to use a phone recording, but Yashiro is quick to figure what's going on. He says that the statute of limitations has passed on his case, so it is of no use. He also says that he's laced Kumi's IV drip with muscle relaxants and has framed Satoru for it so that his falling from the roof will look like a suicide. Satoru says that he still won their battle because he saved everyone from Yashiro, including Sachiko. He concludes that he is Yashiro's purpose in life and proves his point by attempting to fall off the roof. Yashiro stops him, and after realizing that Satoru is right, he drops him down and is prepared to fall to his own death right after. However, this was all a trap, and Yashiro is caught red-handed for attempted murder. Later, we see that Satoru has become a successful manga artist and hasn't experienced revival ever since. The show ends with him meeting Eri. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more recaps and stay updated with my channel.